All right, so you guys send over a ton of stuff about low-carb and keto diets.
Yeah.
It seems like you really want to get to the bottom of the science
Yeah.
and see if maybe it's right for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're here for.
All right.
Today, we're going to be diving deep into your research
Yeah.
and separating fact from fiction.
Awesome.
We have the perfect person to help us.
Oh, good.
Joining us is an expert who not only gets the science, but has lived the low-carb lifestyle themselves.
Right.
An experienced gynecologist and a low-carb advocate
Yeah.
who can share both the triumphs and the challenges of it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you ready to dive in?
Let's go for it.
Okay, first things first, let's rewind the clock way, way back.
Oh, boy.
Back to our hunter-gatherer ancestors.
Okay.
I mean, their diets were totally different from ours.
Right. Completely different. Yeah.
Could that be why so many of us struggle with the typical modern diet?
You know, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And it really gets to the heart of what we call evolutionary mismatch.
Okay, evolutionary mismatch.
Yeah, it basically means our bodies haven't quite caught up to the food we eat today.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can think of it like this.
Okay.
You're trying to run a brand new smartphone,
Okay.
but you're using dial-up internet.
Ah,
It just doesn't work that well.
yeah.
Our bodies are designed for, whole, unprocessed foods,
Mm-hmm.
the kind our ancestors ate.
Yeah.
But today we're just surrounded by processed foods, sugars, refined grains.
All that stuff just wreaking havoc on our systems.
Yeah, unfortunately, it can lead to a whole bunch of problems.
Like what?
Inflammation, insulin resistance, hormonal imbalances,
Yeah.
all those things.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a big reason why so many people struggle with their health these days.
Right. So let's talk about the food itself then.
Okay.
Which foods are the biggest troublemakers in our modern diets?
Okay.
And what should we be eating more of instead?
So, let's start with some of the usual suspects that you've probably heard before.
Okay.
Refined carbs
Mm-hmm.
and seed oils. They're often marketed as healthy,
Right.
but there's growing evidence that they can be really inflammatory,
Ah,
which can then lead to chronic diseases.
okay, so those are out. What about gluten?
Oh, yeah.
Your notes mentioned some interesting stuff about that.
Right. Gluten is another one that can be problematic.
Okay.
Research from Dr. Alessio Fasano,
Okay.
who's a leading expert in this field,
Okay.
shows that gluten can actually cause intestinal permeability.
Intestinal permeability.
Yeah, or leaky gut.
Oh, right.
Or
Everyone.
arthritis.
Wait, so you're saying even if I don't have celiac disease, gluten could still be messing with my gut?
Yes,
Wow. Okay, that's a game changer.
it is.
Wow.
And, beyond just specific ingredients,
Okay.
the quality of the food that we eat is super important.
Yeah.
Grass-fed meat versus conventionally raised meat, how our food is sourced and processed,
Right.
it all makes a really big difference.
So give me an example.
Okay.
How does this play out in the real world?
I think a great example of this is what they're doing with venison in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. I remember you mentioned this.
Yeah.
It sounded crazy. They're using night vision goggles to hunt the deer.
They are.
That seems a little over the top.
Well, it might seem that way,
Yeah.
but they have a reason for it.
Okay.
They raise deer in Hawaii and they let them roam free and graze naturally.
Right.
And to minimize the stress on the animals during harvesting,
Okay.
they use night vision and target only animals that have separated from the herd.
Oh,
So it's all about minimizing stress
okay.
and ensuring the highest quality meat.
So are they saying that stressed out deer equals lower quality meat?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And the difference in the meat is remarkable.
Really?
It's much higher in omega-3s.
Okay.
It has a healthier fat profile compared to conventionally raised meat.
So it's a good illustration of how important the quality is.
It is.
Yeah, okay, so food quality matters.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about cholesterol, because that seems to be a big concern for a lot of people.
Right.
When they hear about low-carb diets,
Yeah.
you sent in a lot of articles about LDL cholesterol
Yeah.
going up on low carb.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, isn't that bad for your heart?
So that's a really common concern.
Yeah.
And it's important to address the outdated view of cholesterol.
Okay.
You know that old thinking that total cholesterol is the only thing that we should be looking at is just wrong.
Okay, so it's more nuanced than just that one single number
It is much more nuanced.
on my blood test.
Yes.
Okay, tell me more.
So it's true that low-carb diets can sometimes raise LDL cholesterol,
Okay.
but they often raise good HDL cholesterol at the same time,
Okay.
and they lower triglycerides,
Okay.
which is a positive shift overall.
Right.
Yeah, what's more important is understanding that there are different types of LDL particles.
Different types. Okay. I'd like to.
So think of LDL cholesterol like packages.
Okay.
Some of them are large and light.
Sure.
They're easy to handle. Okay.
easy to transport.
Easy to transport.
Others are small and dense.
Okay.
You know those packages that get stuck in your doorway?
Yeah.
Those small, dense LDL particles
Yeah.
are the ones that can cause problems in your arteries.
Okay.
But guess what?
What?
Low-carb diets actually help you create more of the large, buoyant LDL, the good kind.
Okay.
And we can't forget about inflammation.
Oh, right.
Because chronic inflammation plays a huge role in heart disease.
Right.
And low-carb diets are fantastic at reducing inflammation
Interesting.
throughout your body.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's not just about the total cholesterol number.
It's not.
It's about the type of LDL, the HDL,
Yeah,
and the overall impact on inflammation.
Yes.
It's a bigger picture thing.
exactly.
Okay.
Now, you also sent in some research on hyperresponders.
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
Tell me what a hyperresponder is
Okay.
and what the research is saying about them.
Okay. So hyperresponders are generally lean, active individuals.
Who experience unusually high increases in LDL cholesterol on a low-carb diet,
Interesting.
even if they're otherwise metabolically healthy?
So should these folks be worried?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
That's what researchers are actively investigating.
Okay.
There's an ongoing study called the Keto trial,
Okay.
and it's specifically looking at the long-term cardiovascular effects in this group of hyperresponders.
So they're putting it to the test
They are.
in real time.
Yes.
Okay.
And while we don't have all the answers yet,
Okay.
early results from the Keto trial
Mm-hmm.
are encouraging.
Okay.
They haven't seen any plaque progression
Okay.
in the keto group,
Right.
even among those with higher LDL.
So good news, potentially.
Yes, but we do need more long-term data
Yeah.
to draw definitive conclusions,
Sure.
you know? But this whole concept of hyper-responders
Mm-hmm.
just highlights how important it is to personalize our approaches to diet and health.
Yeah.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like low carb has some real potential
Yeah.
when it comes to inflammation, cholesterol,
Right.
overall metabolic health.
Yeah.
But you've got some research in there about keto, too.
Yeah.
And it's not all positive.
Right.
What are your thoughts on keto?
Well, first we need to be clear about the difference between low carb and keto.
Okay.
Keto is a much stricter approach
Okay.
with drastically reduced carbs
Okay.
to get your body into a state called ketosis,
Right.
where it's primarily running on ketones,
Okay.
which is a type of fuel derived from fat.
Okay. So it's not just cutting carbs.
It's not just cutting carbs.
It's about flipping a metabolic switch.
Precisely.
Right.
And there's this common misconception that keto is a high-protein diet,
Okay.
but it's really not.
It's not okay.
Yeah, the typical macronutrient breakdown for keto is around 70% fat,
Wow. 70% fat.
20% protein,
Okay.
and only 10% carbs.
Okay.
So
That's a huge shift for most people. But you're saying that's what fuels your body
yeah,
when you're in ketosis.
that's what fuels your body
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're in ketosis.
All right. So why is keto so effective for shedding pounds?
There are a few reasons.
Okay.
First, ketones are very satiating.
Okay.
They make you feel fuller for longer,
Okay.
which helps to curb cravings.
Got it.
Keto also works really well with intermittent fasting,
Right.
which is another powerful tool for improving metabolic health.
Yeah.
And then there's this fascinating thing called energy inefficiency.
Energy inefficiency.
Yeah, so basically the process of creating glucose from fat
Okay.
actually burns more calories.
What?
So you're burning more calories just by being in ketosis.
So my body is working harder,
Yes.
which in this case is a good thing.
In this case, it is a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So beyond weight loss,
Right.
keto has shown some amazing potential for managing conditions like epilepsy,
It has.
especially when medication alone isn't cutting it. So it can be a real game changer for some people.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing more and more research on its potential benefits for autoimmune diseases
We are.
like rheumatoid arthritis
Mhm.
and Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
Yes.
Now, why would that be? What is it about keto that seems to help with autoimmune conditions?
It all comes back to inflammation.
Okay.
Keto is amazing
Yeah.
when it comes to reducing inflammation throughout the body.
Okay.
And since autoimmune diseases are characterized by an overactive immune system
Right.
and chronic inflammation,
Okay.
keto can really help to calm things down
Got it.
and bring the immune response back into balance.
Okay.
There's even research suggesting it could benefit neurological issues like
Sure.
Parkinson's and Alzheimer's.
Wow. The possibilities are pretty incredible.
They are incredible.
But I know you mentioned there's some downsides too.
Right.
Let's be real. What are the challenges?
Okay.
What's the not so fun side of keto?
Well, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Making a big change to your eating habits
Yeah.
may be tough.
It can be tough.
both emotionally and socially.
Socially, yeah.
Yeah, you might feel like you're missing out when everyone else is,
Right.
enjoying pizza or birthday cake.
Totally.
It can feel isolating.
Like you're missing out on something everyone else is enjoying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why finding a supportive community is so important.
Right.
Whether it's a local keto group,
Mm-hmm.
online forums, or even just having a close friend or two
Yeah.
who understand your choices,
Right.
that sense of belonging can make a huge difference.
It helps to know that you're not alone,
It does.
that other people are going through the same challenges.
Right. You can share recipes and tips.
Yeah.
Or even just commiserate over the struggles.
Right.
It makes it much easier.
Yeah. And don't underestimate the power of meal prep.
Oh, meal prep is key.
Having those delicious low-carb meals ready to go
It's so important.
can prevent those moments of weakness
Absolutely.
when you just want to grab something you shouldn't.
I know.
Right.
So
It's all about setting yourself up for success.
it is.
Right.
Now, as far as physical side effects, I've
Oh.
heard people talk about this thing called the keto flu.
Oh, the keto flu.
What's the deal with that?
Yeah, what is that all about?
The keto flu is definitely real,
Okay.
and it's something that a lot of people experience during that initial adaptation period.
Yeah.
You might feel fatigued,
Okay.
get headaches, maybe even feel a little constipated.
Right.
Basically, like you're coming down with something.
Coming down with something.
Yeah.
So how do you get through it?
Okay.
Yeah.
The key is electrolytes.
Electrolytes.
When you're on keto,
Mm-hmm.
you lose more sodium and other electrolytes through your urine.
Oh.
So you really need to replenish them.
Okay.
So make sure you're getting enough salt.
Okay.
Consider supplementing with magnesium and potassium,
Okay.
especially during those first few weeks.
Got it.
And don't hesitate to reach out to a healthcare professional if you're struggling.
Okay. Are there any other nutritional things
Yeah.
to keep in mind when you're on keto?
Yeah. It's always a good idea to get your nutrient levels checked regularly,
Okay.
especially for things like magnesium and vitamin C,
Okay.
which can be lower on keto.
Got it.
Supplementation might be needed in some cases.
Right.
And we should also talk about the potential impact on thyroid hormones.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier it can affect thyroid function.
Yeah, keto can sometimes lower levels of T3,
Okay.
which is the active thyroid hormone.
Right.
It's usually not a major issue in the short term,
Okay.
but it's something to monitor,
Yeah.
especially if you have a history of thyroid problems.
Okay. Good to know. We've covered a lot about keto,
We have.
but it seems like there's even more to consider
There is.
beyond the diet itself.
Right.
What are the most crucial factors in choosing a way of eating
Okay.
that you can actually stick with?
That's a great question.
What should people be thinking about
Yeah.
beyond just the specific foods?
We need to step back and look at the bigger picture here.
Okay.
The most important thing is finding an approach that's personalized to you.
Okay, so you're saying there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Okay.
Your lifestyle, your goals, your health conditions, even your emotional well-being,
Mm-hmm.
all those factors play a role in finding a way of eating that truly works for you.
Okay.
And we have to be really careful about falling into the trap of dogma.
Dogma.
Yeah, and diet tribalism.
Outside tribalism.
It's so easy to get caught up in these echo chambers
Yeah.
where everyone's repeating the same information
Right.
without questioning it.
Yeah, you're telling me to stay off of social media. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But seriously,
Yeah.
how do we avoid getting trapped in those echo chambers?
Well-
Especially when it comes to something as personal as our diet.
You have to be critical of the information that you're consuming,
Okay.
even if it seems to confirm what you already believe.
Remember, that's called confirmation bias.
Okay, confirmation bias.
We're naturally drawn to information that supports our existing beliefs.
Right.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
But it can lead us down the wrong path,
Right.
especially when it comes to our health.
You know what this reminds me of? A
What?
classic example of the Cobra effect.
Oh, I love that story.
Do you remember it?
Tell me you remember it?
Of course, the British government in India
Yeah.
tried to reduce cobra populations by offering a bounty
Right.
for dead cobras.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a logical approach, right?
Makes sense.
But guess what? People started breeding cobras
Exactly.
to cash in on the bounty.
They did.
And the cobra problem actually got worse.
Yes.
So it totally
It
backfired.
totally backfired. Yeah, it's a perfect illustration of how well-intentioned solutions
Right.
can backfire when we don't think critically
Right.
and consider all the different angles.
Right. So how do we avoid those same traps
Yeah.
when it comes to our diets?
You have to stay curious,
Okay.
open-minded,
Mm-hmm.
avoid rigid thinking,
Okay.
Experiment, track how you feel,
Right.
adjust as needed.
Yeah.
There's no perfect diet out there,
Right.
but there's a perfect way of eating for you.
For you.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to help you discover.
I like that.
Yeah. It's fascinating how differently people respond to keto. Some people see amazing results right away,
Yeah.
while others hit roadblocks.
Okay.
To illustrate let's look at a couple of examples from my own practice.
Okay, I love a good case study. Give me the details.
All right, so picture this. A woman in her mid-40s comes to see me. She's struggling with stubborn weight gain fatigue, just feeling mentally foggy. She's tried every diet under the sun, but nothing seems to work.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
A lot of people can relate to that feeling of frustration.
absolutely. Well, she decides to give keto a shot,
Okay.
and within a few weeks, she's a new person. The weight starts coming off, her energy skyrockets. The brain fog lifts. She tells me she feels like she can finally think clearly again. It's a real transformation.
It's amazing. What do you think made the difference for her? Was it just the keto diet itself?
For her, it was the combination of keto and intermittent fasting.
Okay.
She found that time-restricted eating,
Right.
where she only ate within a certain window each day,
Yeah.
really helped her to control her cravings and seemed to boost her metabolism,
Interesting.
which made the keto diet even more effective.
So powerful synergy between those two approaches.
Yeah.
But I imagine not everyone has such a smooth ride.
Right. Not everyone's journey is that straightforward.
Right.
I've also seen cases where people initially do incredibly well on keto.
Okay.
They lose weight quickly, their blood sugar stabilizes, they feel fantastic.
Yeah.
But then after a while, things start to shift.
Okay. What could cause that kind of shift?
It can be a few things. Sometimes it's simply a matter of not being strict enough with carb intake.
Right.
People might start incorporating more carbs than they realize.
Sneaky carbs. They really are everywhere.
They are everywhere.
Yeah.
But in other cases, there might be a deeper issue at play.
Okay. Like what?
Remember how we talked about the potential impact of keto on thyroid function?
Right.
Well, for some people, long-term, keto can lead to subclinical hypothyroidism.
Of clinical hypothyroidism.
Yeah, where their thyroid hormone levels drop slightly.
And that could sabotage their progress, even make them feel worse.
Exactly. They might experience fatigue, hair loss, difficulty losing weight, all symptoms that mimic the very things they were trying to address with keto in the first place.
Wow. So it's crucial to pay attention to those subtle shifts and get those hormone levels checked.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that it's not always the diet itself that's the problem, but how it interacts with our own individual physiology.
Right.
We're all so unique, and our bodies respond differently to different approaches.
Yeah, this brings up a really important point that I wanted to get into. The emotional and social side of low-carb living.
Yes.
It's one thing to read about it, but actually putting it into practice in the real world, that's a whole other challenge.
You're so right. It's a lifestyle shift, not just a diet.
Right.
And the social aspect can be really tricky.
Yeah.
Imagine going out to dinner with friends and everyone's ordering pasta and pizza and you're the only one sticking to salad and grilled chicken.
Right.
It can feel isolating.
Like you're missing out on something that everyone else is enjoying.
Exactly. And that's why finding a supportive community is so important.
Right.
Whether it's a local keto group, online forums, or even just having a close friend or two who understand your choices,
Right.
that sense of belonging can make a huge difference.
It helps to know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
That other people are going through the same challenges.
Absolutely. Sharing recipes, tips, even just commiserating over the struggles.
Right.
It can make the journey so much easier.
Yeah. And don't underestimate the power of meal prep.
Oh.
Having those delicious low-carb meals ready to go can prevent those moments of weakness when you're tempted to reach for something you shouldn't.
Exactly. It's so important.
So preparation is key.
Preparation is key.
But even with the best planning,
Right.
there will be times
Yeah.
when you're faced with temptation, like social gatherings or holidays.
Right.
How do you navigate those situations
Okay.
without feeling deprived or like you're constantly battling cravings?
It's all about finding strategies that work for you.
Okay.
Some people find that allowing themselves a small indulgence now and then helps them stay on track overall.
Okay.
Others prefer a stricter approach, sticking to their plan no matter what.
Right.
It really depends on your personality and what feels sustainable for you.
So there's no right or wrong answer. It's about finding what keeps you motivated
Exactly.
and feeling good.
And remember, it's not about perfection.
Right.
It's about progress. If you slip up, don't beat yourself up about it. Just get back on track with your next meal.
It's about those long-term habits, not short-term perfection.
Exactly. And one of the biggest mental shifts with low carb
Yeah.
is moving away from that diet mentality
Right.
and embracing it as a lifestyle.
Right.
It's not about restriction. It's about nourishing your body with delicious, nutrient-dense foods that make you feel amazing.
So reframing it as a positive choice, not a punishment.
I love that, focus on all the incredible foods you can have.
Yeah.
Fresh produce, grass-fed meats, healthy fats, nuts, seeds.
Right.
There's so much to enjoy.
It's about abundance, not deprivation.
Exactly. And when you approach it from that perspective, it becomes less about what you're giving up and more about what you're gaining.
Right.
Energy, vitality,
Yeah.
mental clarity, a deeper connection with your body.
That's a powerful shift.
It is.
You've been immersed in this world for years.
Yeah.
Well, personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, what are some of the most common misconceptions you hear about low carb and keto?
Mm.
What are the myths that just won't die?
Oh, there are so many. One of the biggest is that it's unhealthy for your heart
Okay.
because of the higher fat intake.
Right.
But as we discussed earlier, it's not that simple.
Right.
It's about the type of fat
Yeah.
and the overall impact on metabolic health, not just the total amount of fat you're eating.
So quality over quantity when it comes to
Exactly.
fat.
Another myth I hear all the time is that it's too restrictive and you can't get enough nutrients on a low-carb or keto diet.
Right.
But if you're focusing on whole, unprocessed foods,
Yeah.
plenty of veggies, healthy fats, quality protein,
Right.
you can absolutely meet your nutritional needs.
And choosing nutrient-dense foods.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I often hear people say that it's just not sustainable long-term,
Right.
but I would argue that it's actually more sustainable than many other diets because it addresses the root cause of so many health issues, insulin resistance.
So it's not just a quick fix. It's about getting your metabolism working for you, not against you.
Precisely when you stabilize your blood sugar and reduce inflammation, you naturally crave less junk food
Right.
and feel more satisfied with healthier choices.
It's like a virtuous cycle.
It is a virtuous cycle. Your body starts working with you instead of fighting against you.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's get practical.
Okay.
You've mentioned meal prep a few times.
Yes.
As a key strategy for success.
It is so important.
What are some of your go-to tips for making low-carb meal prep easy and, dare I say, enjoyable?
So planning is key.
Okay.
Spend a little time each week to plan out your meals and make a grocery list.
Okay.
That way you're not scrambling for ideas during the week when you're already busy.
So no more staring blankly into the fridge wondering what to eat.
Exactly. And when it comes to cooking, keep it simple.
Okay.
Batch cooking protein sources like chicken, ground beef, or fish can save you a ton of time.
Okay.
Roast a big tray of veggies at the beginning of the week, and you've got sides ready to go.
So it's all about having those building blocks that you can mix and match.
Right, and don't be afraid to get creative with leftovers.
Okay.
Last night's roast chicken can easily become a delicious salad.
Right.
Or a hearty soup.
Resourcefulness is key.
It is.
Okay. What about snacks? That's where a lot of people struggle.
Keep things handy and portable.
Okay.
Hard-boiled eggs, a bag of nuts and seeds,
Okay.
cheese sticks, or even a small container of guacamole
Right.
are all great on-the-go options.
Makes sense.
And if you're craving something sweet,
Yeah?
a few berries with some whipped cream can satisfy that craving without derailing your progress.
It's about having those healthy options readily available so you're not tempted by the less than ideal choices.
Exactly. And remember, hydration is so crucial on low carb.
Right.
Keep a water bottle with you throughout the day and make sure you're getting enough electrolytes, especially during those first few weeks.
You mentioned finding a supportive community earlier.
Yes.
What are some good resources
Okay.
for people who are just starting out on their low-carb journey,
Okay.
or those who are feeling a bit lost?
Yeah.
You could use some guidance.
There are so many great resources available now.
Okay.
Online forums and Facebook groups can be incredibly helpful for connecting with others who are on a similar path. It's amazing how much support and encouragement you can find online.
It really is like having a virtual support group at your fingertips.
Exactly. And there are tons of fantastic blogs and websites dedicated to low carb and keto
Right.
with recipes, meal plans, tons of valuable information.
Okay.
And of course, don't hesitate to reach out to a healthcare professional who specializes in low-carb nutrition.
Yeah.
They can provide personalized guidance and support, which can be invaluable.
It's about finding those allies, those people who can help you navigate the challenges and celebrate the victories.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, this is about so much more than just a diet. It's about reclaiming your health, boosting your energy, and living your life to the fullest.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
It's a journey worth taking.
It is.
Okay, so we've explored a lot about low carb and keto,
We have.
the science, the practicalities.
Yeah.
And now I think it's time to address the big question.
Okay.
The one that's probably on everyone's mind.
Right.
Is keto right for you?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And the answer, as with most things in nutrition,
Yeah.
is not a simple yes or no.
Right.
Keto isn't a magic bullet.
Right.
It's a tool,
Okay.
a powerful tool that can be really effective for some people in certain situations.
Okay.
But it's definitely not for everyone.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
Who are the people who should seriously consider giving keto a try?
All right, so the most obvious candidates are those struggling with obesity
Okay.
or, who have a significant amount of weight to lose.
Okay.
Keto's ability to reduce hunger, stabilize blood sugar, and even burn more calories because of that energy inefficiency we talked about
Right.
can make it really effective for weight loss.
So for those folks, keto could be a real game changer.
Yeah, it can be.
But what about people who are already at a healthy weight?
Yeah,
Is there any benefit to keto for them?
absolutely.
Okay.
Especially if they're dealing with specific health conditions.
Okay. Like what?
For example, keto has been shown to be remarkably effective
Mm-hmm.
in managing epilepsy,
Okay.
particularly in cases where medication alone isn't providing adequate control.
So it could be like a potential lifeline for those struggling with epilepsy.
It could be.
Wow. And we're also seeing more and more evidence
We are.
that keto can help manage various autoimmune diseases.
Yes.
Like rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
And Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
That's right.
Now, why would that be? What is it about keto that seems to help with autoimmune conditions?
It all comes back to inflammation.
Okay.
Keto is a powerhouse when it comes to reducing inflammation throughout the body.
Okay.
And since autoimmune diseases are characterized by an overactive immune system
Right, yeah.
and chronic inflammation,
Okay.
keto can help to calm things down and bring
Wow.
the immune response back into balance.
Got it. And there's even some emerging research
There is.
suggesting that keto may benefit certain neurological conditions.
All right.
Like Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
And Alzheimer's disease.
That's right.
Wow. The potential really is vast.
It is vast.
But we do need to be realistic here
We do.
and emphasize that more research is needed
Absolutely.
in many of these areas.
Yeah. And even when keto is beneficial,
Right.
it's not necessarily a permanent solution for everyone.
Okay, so let's flip the script.
Okay.
When would you not recommend keto to someone?
So if someone is already lean active
Mm-hmm.
and metabolically healthy,
Okay.
they might not need such a drastic shift in their diet.
Okay.
A more moderate, low-carb approach could be more sustainable and enjoyable for them in the long run.
And we talked about some of those potential downsides.
We did.
Like the impact on thyroid function.
Right. And while those effects are often temporary
Yeah.
and reversible, it's definitely something to be aware of, especially for people who have a history of thyroid issues.
And we can't forget those social and emotional challenges.
You can't.
If someone feels constantly restricted and deprived,
Yeah,
that can really be counterproductive
absolutely.
in their overall well-being.
Right.
So it sounds like it's a balancing act,
It is.
weighing the potential benefits
Mm-hmm.
against the potential downsides,
Right.
considering individual needs
Yeah.
and preferences.
Yeah. And this is where self-experimentation comes in.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to try keto for a period of time
Right?
and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your body,
Mm-hmm.
track your symptoms,
Okay.
get your blood work done to monitor things objectively.
So it's about listening to your body
It is.
and being willing to adjust course
Yes.
if something isn't working.
Exactly. If you're thriving on keto,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Keep doing what works for you.
Right?
But if you're struggling, don't hesitate to adjust your approach
Okay.
or even ditch keto altogether.
Right.
There's no shame in trying something
Yeah.
and realizing it's not the right fit.
Right.
It's all about finding what works for you,
Right.
not what some guru or influencer
Right.
tells you should be doing.
I love that it's about personal empowerment,
It is.
taking control of your own health journey
Yes.
and finding what truly feels right for your body.
I love that. So
Okay.
remember, this journey isn't a straight line.
Okay.
What works for you today might not work for you a year from now.
Yeah.
Life changes. Our bodies change.
Mhm.
Our needs change.
Right.
Be flexible, stay curious, and keep learning.
I like that.
That's the key to lifelong health and well-being.
Couldn't agree more. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. From evolutionary roots of our dietary struggles
Yeah.
to, the complexities of cholesterol, the potential benefits and challenges of keto, and, really emphasizing those personalized approaches.
Right.
It's been a journey.
It's been quite a journey.
So as you reflect on everything we've discussed today,
Yeah.
what's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah.
What resonated with you the most? Maybe it's challenging a long-held belief about cholesterol,
Right.
Trying a new recipe,
Yeah.
or simply just being more mindful of the quality of food that you're choosing.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is, hold on to that insight and let it guide you as you continue your journey.
I love that. And don't be afraid to share your experience with others.
Yeah.
Spread the knowledge, support each other, and let's create a world where everyone can thrive.
Beautifully said. That's what it's all about. And as always, keep those questions coming. Keep diving deep, and we'll be here to guide you every step of the way. Until next time, happy exploring.